Some people are saying that this man might have done it again. Welcome into Chicago Bears Now. My name is Harrison Graham. Did Ryan Poles find another hidden gem? We'll tell you who that player is coming up here on today's show. But listen, it's the dog days of the offseason. Minicamp just wrapped up, OTAs. I'm excited we got a little break, but I'll be honest, I'm already starting to get that itch for training camp. And if you are as well, hit that like button if you are fired up for Bears training camp. Joel Wilson is a name that Bears fans need to keep in mind as we get closer and closer to training camp, and especially during the preseason. Doesn't he just have the look of kind of a fringe roster tight end? I mean, he's got kind of the mullet going. It's a great look, but Joel Wilson might be the latest hidden gem found by Ryan Poles, and he's been able to do this a few times with some UDFAs, the Jack Sanborns, the Josh Blackwells, the Jalen Jones of the world, and maybe Joel Wilson is the latest example of that as he's drawn rave reviews, good reports out of camp. Ben Johnson shouted him out as well, saying that he's had 1 to 2 great catches pretty much at every single OTA practice. He said that after mandatory minicamp, and then the next week he went out there and had a good week as well. And this is a guy who has had quite the journey because this is not a rookie undrafted free agent. He is a UDFA, but from a couple of years ago. So we'll kind of go through his background, who he is, how he got to this point, and whether or not I think he's got a shot to make this Bears roster or not, because I do think there's a scenario where it could happen. And I want to know from you guys, be honest with me. Have you heard of Joel Wilson before the summer, before the last, say, 3 weeks? Because I knew the name because he was on the practice squad late last season and was on the 90-man roster this year. But I'll be honest, I didn't know who the hell Joel Wilson was. But when Ben Johnson pointed him out as a minicamp standout, I was like, okay, you've got my attention when Ben Johnson's talking about this tight end. So I thought, you know what, let's just do a full video about this guy. So you look at his background. He's from Petoskey, Michigan, went to high school there at Petoskey High School. He was just a 2-star recruit, and I did some deep research on this. I think the only D1 offer he had was Central Michigan. I checked a couple of the recruiting services. Now, sometimes for the smaller recruits, they don't have the full list. There might have been a couple more, but if he went to a MAC school, I'm imagining that even if he did have 1 or 2 more, maybe like Bowling Green or something like that, it's not like Michigan State was looking at him. And then he ended up being undrafted in 2023 before signing with the New Orleans Saints. You look at his college production, the vast majority of this was the last 2 years. He had over 300 yards, then over 400 yards his last 2 seasons. So for those 2 years, he was pretty productive at Central Michigan, had 11 touchdowns, so he was a red zone threat for one of the best mascots in college football, the Chippewas, back then. I think there was some overlap, too, with P.J. Fleck. I'm not sure. I'd have to go double-check before no, that was Western Michigan. My mistake there. The former Florida coach, I think, was his head coach, Jim McElwain, but I'd have to go double-check there. But you look at his pro day testing, he did not get invited to the combine, but decent size, athleticism there, almost 6'4", over 240, good vert there with the 33-inch vertical, broad jump of over 9.5 feet, had 11 reps on the bench press, not a huge number there. So I think that would be the one question as we get into training camp here is, can he hold up as a blocker? But I think the athletic upside, the receiving ability is there. We've seen that in OTAs and in minicamp up to this point, to the point where the first-year head coach has shouted him out like, hey, he's made a couple of plays just about every single OTA practice. So keep an eye on Joel Wilson. We'll talk about his NFL journey next and then kind of get to the part of whether or not I think he's got a chance to make this football team. But if he does make this team, the guy who's going to be throwing him the ball is Caleb Williams. If you want to get a Caleb Williams jersey today, go to chatsports.com/Caleb jersey. They're only $100. We've sold about 15 of these so far. If you want to get in on the action, you can. Most of these times, these jerseys, these Nike NFL ones, they start at $120. These are only 100, so take advantage while this deal is in play. Chatsports.com/Caleb jersey. That link is in the comments and description of this video. You look at Wilson's journey in the NFL. So I mentioned he was a Saints UDFA. Well, he got cut about a week later because he failed a physical. And I think that's been part of the issue of why he's bounced around. He dealt with some medical stuff coming out of Central Michigan early on in his NFL career, so it's caused him to bounce around. He spent half of 2023 on the Bills practice squad, got cut, goes to the Packers practice squad in November that year. The Giants pick him up the season after that. They cut him in October, so the Bears pick him up. I don't really, to be honest, I remember when they did it, but at the time, middle of the season, I'm not really that engaged with a practice squad pickup. So he's been in the building for 8 or 9 months now. Now, obviously, a new coaching staff, but he's put his head down. He's gone to work with no Colston Loveland at these OTA practices and minicamp as he's rehabbing his shoulder injury. He's been able to take advantage of some opportunities and has even gotten out there with the one some in 7-on-7 drills. So I mentioned this week with the veterans out, caught 2 touchdown passes from Caleb Williams in a low red zone drill. That's promising. Has natural hands, good route runner. So I've elevated him on my depth chart to tight end 4. I think he has surpassed Stephen Carlson on the Bears tight end depth chart. Now, a lot of this could come down to a numbers game. If they only carry 3 tight ends on the roster, well, Cole Kmet and Colston Loveland are safe. Durham Smythe isn't a lock. I think they gave him $2.5 million. So if Joel Wilson's just better, he could certainly be the third guy over Smythe. But, he's going to have to earn that, right? Because Smythe has a background with Ben Johnson dating back to Miami. But I do wonder if he could push him there. I do think he's a more natural receiving tight end than current day Durham Smythe, but you would trust Smythe more as a blocker. He's a veteran. That third tight end role, if you're going to go with a younger guy, you got to be able to do a little bit of everything. You got to be able to come in and block. You got to be able to catch the ball. So that'll be my biggest question for Joel Wilson when the pads go on, especially with his injury history. Can he hold up as a blocker? If he can, I think his path to this football team is there. If he can't, maybe he's more of a practice squad option, but still one that I'm intrigued about. But I think his path, there's 2 paths here. If 4 players make the team, he's got a really good shot if he performs in the preseason, because I like his athletic upside more than a Stephen Carlson type or any free agent that's out there. I don't think they're bringing back Mercedes Lewis. So right now I've got him as the 4th guy, so that would be a path. If they only carry 3, you would give Durham Smythe the inside track, but I think there'd be opportunity. I think he could push him to potentially unseat Smythe to have Smythe be a bit of a surprise cut. So, again, we'll see where it goes. He's a name, you always talk about these training camp darlings. I think he fits that bill as someone who could command some attention in July and in August in those preseason games. Predict it for us. Will Joel Wilson make the 53-man roster? Type S for, I don't know why I said S for sign. S for sign, P for pass, as in he won't make it. I meant Y for yes and for no. Doesn't matter. Will he make the 53? Give us your thoughts in the comment section below. That's going to do it for this edition of Chicago Bears Now. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. We will be back tomorrow with another episode. Until then, bear down.